Well, it is finally here. Basketball season starts tonight, and what a big one we have at Reynolds Coliseum. A top 5 matchup between South Carolina and NC State. The Wolfpack have won 12 straight games there at home. What will they be able to do against the #1 team in the preseason rankings? And what will Elisa Cunane be able to do? The ACC preseason player of the year, the reigning ACC tournament MVP. Big smile for a reason. We will see in just about half an hour. That game coming your way on ESPN, but right now on ACC Network. We welcome you into our pregame show alongside Coach Muffet McGraw and Kelly Gramlich. I'm Kelsey Riggs, and guys, it is finally here, the start of the season. And what a way we get to start it with this top 5 matchup between South Carolina and NC State. Coach, you're sitting in a different chair again this year, and we're happy to have you here. But what's it feel like as we get ready for the start of the season for you?
Well, I know a lot of people think this is the best day of the year. And you know what? Now as a fan, I'm agreeing with you. If I was coaching, I'd want one more day of practice.
5 teams from the ACC are ranked in the top 25, and we mentioned NC State. Louisville right behind them in the preseason rankings, coming in at number 6. You've also got Florida State, Georgia Tech, and Virginia Tech in the polls. But let's get to the big game coming your way tonight. Last year, when these two teams played, it was a top 10 matchup between South Carolina and between NC State, and it was the Wolfpack that won it. South Carolina struggled shooting. It was a defensive battle, and the Wolfpack able to win their 2nd straight against South Carolina. What will they be able to do this year? You think they forgot what happened last year? Certainly not, because guess what? The returning scoring and the returning production from these two teams last year, it's back again. Both teams with all 5 of their starters, so much of their talent, and they've added even more weapons around them. Should be a really great game. And let's hear what NC State Wolfpack head coach Wes Moore had to say about if his team was on a mission.
You know, we had talked about on the championship rings possibly putting 3rd straight Sweet 16, and the players said, no, we don't want that on there. We don't want to be reminded of not going deeper last year than we did. So I do think they're very hungry, and that's why, you know, all the seniors came back, you know, and I think that's because they still feel like there's some unfinished business, and it's tough. The neighborhood we're trying to get into is really tough. But they're definitely motivated to try to break through.
A postseason that ended sooner than they would have hoped last year, Coach, but this team has a lot of talent coming back, and it is a big game. It's the first game, and I don't think you can start it much better than this. So how do you kind of put into perspective, Coach, what you hope to get out of this game for either coach?
Well, first of all, this time of the year, it is not about winning, losing. What you want to do is you want to come out of the game and you want to learn something that's really going to help you down the road. I know what my team's strengths and weaknesses are, but what I don't know is how is our opponent going to guard us. So I'm looking to see, what are they going to do? Are they going to go zone? What do they think our strengths are, and how are they going to try to stop us from doing what we want to do? But regardless of what they do defensively, my goal is very simple. It comes down to one thing, and that's offensive execution. Are we getting the shots we want? You're not going to make every shot. You can't control that, but you can control the shots you get. So the #1 thing I want to see from my team is, are we executing? That's really important on the offensive end. Defensively, you want to be able to look and say, can we get some stops? Can we take them out of the rhythm? Can we make them uncomfortable? Can we do something that they don't normally practice, make them go to the 2nd or 3rd option? And that's something that's going to be really key. But overall, my intangible is I want to find out if my team is smart enough and disciplined enough to stick to that game plan. There's going to be runs. We're going to get down 6-0. Can we make that up? Can we withstand the run, make our own run? But are we smart enough? Time and score. Late in the game, end of the shot clock. What are we going to do?
I can't believe Coach Muffet McGraw said it's not about winning or losing. That really surprises me here, Kels. But overall, I think you also find out when you finally play a game, you're outside of practice, who's going to show up when the lights come on. Especially, look, this game is on ESPN. It's the opener to the Champions Classic. There's going to be a ton of eyeballs on this game. You have some young players if you're South Carolina. You have a transfer in Diamond Johnson who's fitting into your team. Who shows up when the lights get bright, Kels?
Kelly and Coach, when we talked about this game last year, there was a lot of hype that went into the bigs, into Elisa Cunane and Aaliyah Boston going head-to-head. And their head coach, Dawn Staley, said that she didn't feel like the matchup lived up to the hype last year. Coach, I hope it does this year. What are you expecting from a player like Elisa Cunane and what she brings?
I hope it does too. Last year, Cunane got the better of Boston, 14 points to Boston only getting 9. I think that that's an important matchup. The issue this year is going to be that South Carolina has so much depth. They added Cardoso, so you can't think about trying to get Boston in foul trouble. What's that going to look like? Cunane really doesn't have a great backup. Hobby's going to come in and give him some good minutes, but she is really going to have to play a long time, and South Carolina able to rest their bigs a little bit more, so going to be a tough matchup for Cunane.
Elisa Cunane double-doubles in all but one game last year.
You see Elisa Cunane, I mean, she's...
Yeah, go ahead, Cal.
Well, when you look at Cunane, I mean, she's so versatile, and I think last year she was very effective against Aaliyah Boston, and they were able to slow down Aaliyah Boston. She only had 9 points. She was 4 of 14 from the field, and Cunane, they're so good around her. They find her in the best positions for her to score, and here's another example here of Cunane. She's getting that good position inside. She's going to go directly to her left, have a quick move once she catches that ball on the block, and she's really becoming better at finishing. But that's what Aaliyah Boston does as well. Aaliyah Boston and Cunane, two of the most talented post players in the country, and you're going to see them go head-to-head. But Cardoso from South Carolina, keep an eye on her. And I think Kayla Jones, who I know is not 100%, but Coach Morris says she is going to play. Kayla Jones was incredible in the game last year. She's going to have to be very big for NC State on both ends of the floor.
We'll get into those injuries a little bit later in the show and kind of break down what NC State needs to do. But, Coach, when you look at a player like Elisa Cunane, who is their leader, they've got some great seniors and returners coming back. What do you look to Elisa Cunane for, Coach, in a game like this?
Well, she's got to be the one that's going to make the big shot, take the big shot. And as you saw on the tape there, she can step out and hit the three. When she's going to get tired of being beat up inside, she's going to want to step out. But what that does is allows Kayla Jones to go to the block and maybe get a mismatch. You saw the pick and roll action. She's going to be able to hopefully get the mismatch on that. How are they guarding the pick and roll? That's going to be really important to how Cunane's going to be able to score today.
And Kelly, we talked about Aaliyah Boston just a little bit, but she is an All-American selection, a unanimous one. She is a two-time Lisa Leslie Center Award winner. So she's got a lot of talent. NC State very familiar with her and all that she can do. What do you expect to see from Boston, Kelly, in tonight's game?
I expect her to play better than she did in this NC State game last year. She was held to 9 points. She struggled a little bit. She did have 9 rebounds. I heard the Baylor coach saying Nalissa Smith is the best player in the country. I think you can make the argument for Naz Hillman to be the best player in the country. Of course, you've got Beckers and Caitlin Clark. But Aaliyah Boston, on her best day, she's right up there, and she may be the most effective player because of what she does, rebounding the ball and defensively. So she is the head of the snake for this South Carolina team. I know Coach said you can't get them in foul trouble. I mean, that's the goal early with Boston. And then to guard her specifically, you have to get her off the block. Make her catch the ball 10 to 12 feet around the basket, and then you have a chance to slow her down.
Tip-off coming your way on ESPN in just under 18 minutes. Really looking forward to see how this one plays out. You know, they have not forgotten the way things went last year. And Jakia Brown-Turner, what will she be able to add? This is a talented Wolfpack roster. We will see what they're able to do. NC State has won 18 straight openers. Will they make it 19? And will they win their 3rd straight over the number 1? We will find out more on the other side of this break. Welcome back into Nothing But Net. NC State getting ready to take on the number 1 team in the preseason polls in South Carolina, and they are going to have to do it without Jada Boyd, key piece of this team. She does have a torn tendon and will miss at least a few weeks of the season, so we'll see how they're able to fare without her this season. These arenas are not going to be empty like what's behind Kelly right now. Coach, they're going to be full. It is a sellout crowd tonight at Reynolds Coliseum, Coach. It's filling up right now as we're about 13 minutes away from tip-off. And you'd like to think that this did not play as big a role as it did, Coach, last year, but that was tough for people to play in empty stadiums.
You know, it really was. It was just everything. You could hear the ball bouncing. You could hear the coaches yelling. And really, the good thing was you didn't have anybody intimidated by a hostile crowd, which would have happened at South Carolina last year. So let's hope that NC State can bring the hostility, because they're going to need every single fan cheering as loud as they can. It's a great arena for women's basketball. It's sold out. It's going to be an exciting night.
It is, Coach, and I thought last year not having a crowd in Colonial Life really was a negative with this game. I felt like this game last year was a little ugly if we all look back and remember it. It was a first to 50 kind of game wins, and both teams struggled to shoot the ball, but you didn't have the juice, you didn't have the crowd, and you had a weird off season for both teams. I think this game, we're going to see a lot more offense. It's going to have a lot more flow compared to last year's game.
Kelly, something else that was weird this offseason is just how much the transfer portal was wide open. And these two teams that we're about to see face off have some big-time transfers. You look at Diamond Johnson for NC State, comes over from Rutgers. She's a Big Ten all-freshman. She led the team with 18 points in their exhibition game against UNC Pembroke. Really looking forward to seeing what she's able to do this season, how she fits in. And then there's a familiar name that you see on the right side of your screen with the South Carolina logo, and that is former Syracuse 6'7" star Camila Cardoso. So she now joins the Gamecocks. When you look at these additions, Coach, let's start with Diamond Johnson. What do you expect to see her impact on this NC State team be this year?
Well, you know, I love a Philly point guard, and she is definitely that. She is going to give them a lot of confidence. I think she is somebody that can really score the ball. Shot over 50% from the field, from the guard position. That's phenomenal. About 45% from the three-point line. NC State really needs somebody that can stretch the floor. The interesting thing will be, will they play together? Reyna Perez and Diamond Johnson, both point guards. Diamond, obviously, a lot more of a scorer than Reyna Perez is.
I can't wait to watch Diamond Johnson play for NC State. And then when you look at Camila Cardoso for South Carolina, this is the ACC Rookie of the Year who was at Syracuse last year. Obviously, she's 6'6". I mean, that absolutely stands out. And she's getting to learn from Aaliyah Boston. She runs the floor so well. She's an incredible athlete for her size. She has great hands, and she can catch that ball, keep it high, and score. And it's very hard for anyone to defend her. She's going to come off the bench for South Carolina. How is that fair? That's not fair. You bring Camila Cardoso off the bench, it's an embarrassment of riches for Dawn Staley.
Well, it's not going to be easy for them to deal with that for sure, Kelly. And let's talk a little bit about what NC State does not have, and that is the ACC Co-6 Player of the Year last year in Jada Boyd, who I mentioned is out with that torn tendon. Kelly, when you look at the impact that that has, what do you expect NC State to do and to need to do to stay competitive and to potentially win against this South Carolina team?
Well, this is big, Kels, because Jada Boyd is one of the best athletes in the entire league in the ACC, and she didn't play in this game last year. She was injured as well. So NC State did beat South Carolina last year without Jada Boyd, but I think she would be huge for them defensively in this game to try to guard Boston and guard Saxton and guard Cardoso inside. So they're going to miss her, but it's really good news that Kayla Jones at least is going to play a certain amount in this game. I think you will see some Camille Hobby as well inside for defensive purposes.
Yeah, Kayla Jones is the key. She is somebody that she's just the glue to their team. She really makes a big play when they need a big play. She's got a lot of confidence. They really feed off of her energy. I think she's so important to this team. How much she's going to play, that's the big question. We're really going to miss Jada Boyd. She was just such an important player for them last year at so many different spaces. So I think it's going to be tougher tonight for NC State. Their bench is a little bit more limited.
Coach, we've talked a little bit about Aaliyah Boston and South Carolina's bigs and their size and how dangerous they are. And NC State has said they might go 4 guards. They might have to play a smaller lineup. Diamond Johnson obviously comes into factor there. But do you think about the athleticism that NC State has with some of those guards, and could that potentially create a problem?
I worry about the size. That's my big concern when you look at the 5'5" Perez. Diamond Johnson, not that much bigger, maybe 5'7". Crutchfield, not that much bigger. There's a lot of small guards on the floor. South Carolina also has some small guards, but they got some huge bigs inside. I like a 4-guard offense. I think you can do so many different things. You can run the floor offensively. You can really spread the floor and let Cunane go to work inside. But depending on what South Carolina puts on the floor, if they go out with 2 bigs, there's going to be some huge mismatches. I wonder if NC State might have to play some zone.
Coach, I always think, when someone says, how do you beat South Carolina? How do you compete with South Carolina? I think the key is you slow it down. You take them out of transition. But I think when I look at NC State and I look at their lack of size with Jada Boyd being out and trying to guard Boston and Cardoso together, I almost think NC State should try to speed it up a little more in this game. And because they're going to try to play some 4-guard, try to run, get the ball up and down, and NC State is the better 3-point shooting team. They're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the ACC. So if you can get out in transition, knock down some threes, I almost think State should try to speed this game up a little bit.
We'll see if that is what they do. Kelly, we are going to have to let you go. No, you've got another game to get ready for, so we're glad that we got to hang out with you for a little while before that one. Enjoy your game. And I know you'll be watching what happens in this next game as we are about 10 minutes away from tip-off. Top 5 matchup. Cannot say it enough because this is a great way to start the season and a great way for Wes Moore to start his 9th season at the helm for NC State. The Wolfpack looking to take another from South Carolina. More from this game as we get you ready for tip-off after this. South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley just signed a massive $24 million 7-year contract, and she has been doing great things at South Carolina. But, Coach, she can't forget where she came from, right? She knows all about the ACC, played at Virginia. She knows some of these ACC players pretty well, too, Coach, because she coaches USA basketball, got to work with Elisa Cunane and Jakia Brown-Turner this offseason. How does that factor in? She's got to know their game a little bit better now.
You really do. You get to know their game, their strengths and weaknesses, but you get a little bit of a peek inside how their mind works. How confident of a player are they? Where do they want the ball? Do they want it in a tough situation? That's really going to help you when you're working the sidelines. But you wonder if she's going to tell her everything she really wants to tell her, or she's going to say, I'm going to let you figure that out on your own because I got to play you guys this year.
We will see. I'm sure it is all friendly exchanges beforehand, but then when they get going, Coach, it is on, and that is just a few minutes away. So when you look at NC State, they come into this one the number 5 in the team in the preseason ranking, so looking to pull off the upset yet again. They did it last year. These teams look the same, and somehow, Coach, they look even better than last year because of all the talent that they've brought in additionally to the starters that return. So what is the key for NC State in taking down South Carolina again?
Well, Kelsey, I think the biggest key in every game, really, and the most important number on that stat sheet is rebounding. Rebounding is the only thing that you can control because it is just all about effort. You might not shoot the ball as well as you like, but as I talked about earlier, if you're executing, you're still fine with that. Defensively, you got to get some stops. That's going to be important. But this game, there are going to be a lot of runs. So can they withstand those runs? Can they stop the momentum? Huddle up, figure out where they have to go because South Carolina is just going to keep coming at them. So we'll see if conditioning is a factor. But I really think it's going to come down to rebounding and execution.
Coach, you have been in the locker rooms before a lot of really big games, and it's just the first game, so it's the next one, it's the big one, but it is a top 5 matchup. So if you're Wes Moore, take us through what you would be saying to your team ahead of this game.
Well, I'm going to talk about the fact that it doesn't matter if we win or lose. It's not going to say, if we lose this game, we don't have a chance to win a national championship. This game is a barometer of where we are right now. It's going to tell us where we need to get to. This is the best team in the country. If we can compete with them for 40 minutes, we're going to watch the film and see what did we learn? What do we have to go back to the drawing board and fix? What do we have to add on offense or add on defense? What are the things that are going to help us win the next game? So it's really a great opportunity. There's no pressure on either team.
This is a new team and a new season, but as I have mentioned, they do certainly, both of these teams look pretty familiar to what we saw last year. And you know that this South Carolina team has talked a lot about what happened last year. Don Staley has said that that's still in their mind. They want to come back and avenge that loss. We will see if they are able to do it. It is coming your way on ESPN. For Kelly Gramlich, Coach Muffet McGraw, I'm Kelsey Riggs. We'll get you updated later right here on ACC Network.
We're ready to start off another college basketball season on ESPN with a top 5 matchup between #1 South Carolina and #5 NC State. Coming up next.
It's a blessing and a privilege. Something that I love unconditionally.
It's been my whole life.
My life,
and my family, my kids.
A lifetime.
A lifetime of passion, love, and fulfillment.
We've all been given the gift of basketball.
It started when I was a young kid that fell in love with this orange ball.
This gift is something more.
Opportunity.
Endless opportunity.
To be able to see the world.
Meeting wonderful people, friendships and bonds, the places it can take you.
Something that motivates us.
The gift of passion. Something that's bigger than myself.
Inspires us.
Definitely give me a platform.
To help and change lives.
And becomes us.
A program that I hoped and dreamed of.
The joy.
Thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
The gift.
Higher education.
Completely changed my life.
Leadership.
It brings to you.
The memories never go away.
To me and to us.
All of this little orange ball has created.
Man, I love this sport.
Basketball is awesome, baby, with a capital A.
Well, perfectly put, Dickie V. And what a scene here at Valvano Arena at Reynolds Coliseum. And what a night on ESPN. A triple-header beginning here in North Carolina with South Carolina and NC State. Then we head to the Champions Classic with 2 big games as we welcome you courtside. Hey, everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. You ready to get this thing started?
I think it's a good way to do it, 1 versus 5.
Yeah, not bad at all. And when it comes to the top-seeded South Carolina Gamecocks, a lot of talent. But the star that shines brightest, Aaliyah Boston, back for her junior-seniors.
Yeah, one of the absolute most dominant low-post players in all of women's college basketball. You need to send multiple bodies to her. You cannot handle her one-on-one. Last year averaged 14 points and 11.5 boards a game. Dominant on the defensive end as well with her ability to block shots. Terrific getting to the offensive glass. Over 4 offensive rebounds a game. She is an absolute beast in the post.
This South Carolina team returns all 11 players from its Final Four team a season ago. They have the #1 recruiting class with 3 players in the top 5, and Aaliyah Boston, a preseason first-team All-American. Meanwhile, for NC State, Elisa Canane leads the charge.
I love that we got a battle of the bigs here tonight. Elisa Canane for NC State has got the finesse inside. She can score right hand, left hand, but she is also very good and capable stepping out to the three-point line. Shot just under 40% from deep a season ago. Also a good passer. She is the heart and soul and leader offensively for the NC State Wolfpack.
Best preseason AP poll ranking for NC State since 1979. The Wolfpack returns all 5 starters, and Canane, the ACC preseason player of the year, projected to be a first-round pick in next season's WNBA draft. Well, these fans are ready to go. A sellout crowd here at Valvano Arena at Reynolds Coliseum. The earliest meeting between 2 top 5 teams in 20 seasons. It happens on November 9th in Raleigh. Saxton and Canane to jump it up, and this season is underway.
You see NC State starting out in man-to-man defense. They will give Aaliyah Boston a ton of attention when she gets a touch inside.
Gets a touch outside here. Here comes Bree Beal on the attack, lays it in.
Great sign for South Carolina for Beal to be aggressive going to the rim.
You see the NC State starting lineup. Big name to point out there, Diamond Johnson, the transfer from Rutgers, a very talented player. She's in the starting lineup right now with Kayla Jones still working her way back a bit from a knee injury. Otherwise, she probably would have started, and Johnson likely would have come off the bench, as Canane can't quite finish with the baby hook.
And when these teams met a season ago, South Carolina did not send a double to Elisa Canane.
Same starting five for South Carolina from the group we saw go to the Final Four a season ago and lose a heartbreaker to Stanford. That thrilling one-point Stanford win as Henderson banks it in.
South Carolina has looked really good attacking the paint. They were so good in the paint a season ago, not just from their bigs, but their guards getting inside.
Henderson poked it away, and then a foul called against NC State. Good D there from South Carolina, led, of course, by Dawn Staley, now in her 14th season, one of 6 active head coaches who have won a national championship. Just inked a very nice new 7-year extension, well earned for Coach Staley, just under $23 million. And Canane is going to quickly check out after picking up the personal. So Canane out. Camille Hobby in. Boston gets stuck between Hobby and Brown Turner. It's going to stay here with South Carolina. Wes Moore in his 9th season, leading NC State, 2-0 record against AP #1 teams. Both those wins happening last season, including one against South Carolina in December. That jumper is good. Everybody getting involved early. This time it's Zaya Cook.
The guards have looked really good. The entire perimeter so far early here for South Carolina, taking smart shots, looking to attack, playing within themselves. Zaya Cook is such a dynamic offensive player, and here just curls around the screen, has great elevation, can shoot over Diamond Johnson.
South Carolina starts this game 3 for 3 from the floor. Here's Reyna Perez, the transfer who Wes Moore called a blessing last season. Said she was even better than expected. Shot clock fading here. Down to 3. Perez flips it in. Nice poise there from Reyna Perez.
And even on the make, look at South Carolina pushing pace. That's what they want to do, get up and down the floor quickly. Henderson, one of the best in the country at doing so.
Couldn't finish there. Perez flings it down the floor. Johnson trying to find the cutter Hobby. Last hits her, and NC State turns it over.
Shot clock coming down. We saw Perez do this in some big moments a year ago, Ryan, and here just trying to make something out of nothing, doing a good job with it.
Last year was second in the ACC with just under 5 assists per game. That's going to trickle out of bounds as South Carolina turns it over. Now, we talked with Dawn Staley about, did she talk with her team and talk with Aaliyah Boston, with the group at large, about the way things ended against Stanford, such dramatic, heartbreaking fashion. The tip from Aaliyah Boston just missing at the buzzer, and said we kind of moved on. Everybody's so excited for this season, but she said the one thing we did talk about is the margin of error, saying that's how close it can be between advancing or not, between winning a championship or not, literally inches away from advancing to the national championship game.
And they look like a team that is coming in here and is going to grab everything that they can. I mean, they are playing hard. They are on point right now, South Carolina is.
3 turnovers already from NC State. Here's Beal. Cook thought about it. Gives it up in the corner. Henderson, the ball fake, the drive, and that's going to be a charge. Reyna Perez waiting there to take the contact.
Like the poise, though, that we saw from Zaya Cook on that possession as we get another look at the good defense as Perez came over. Great job getting her feet set. But Zaya Cook, her decision-making was improving throughout the course of last season, including in the NCAA tournament, not forcing shots. It's going to be important for her to have really good shot selection this season.
Good fake, Brown Turner. Will take and hit.
But without Cunane on the floor right now, NC State is missing their anchor inside. They play through her and around her. Westmore taking her out quickly after that first foul.
Here's Henderson. Boston will give it back. Cook leans in and banks it home.
She's tough to guard. She's tough to guard because she's explosive off the bounce. She can shoot from the perimeter as well.
We saw her score 25 in that game against Stanford in the Final Four. Johnson, quick first step, bursts inside and then gets denied by Aaliyah Boston.
We saw it so many times a season ago with Aaliyah Boston just cleaning things up, and she does it here in the paint. We saw it a little bit earlier out on the perimeter. She's got that 6'7.5" wingspan, so she can get to the ball.
Had a triple-double with blocks in her first ever collegiate game. First player to do that. A junior now as Perez splashes in another mid-range.
But nothing easy. Nothing easy for NC State. They're having to create off the bounce in order to get looks.
Cunane still a spectator after that early personal. Dump inside, too strong. Henderson throws it away, and South Carolina has its third turnover.
One more pass to Cook in the corner, and she would have been the guard to have the angle to get the post entry.
What did you think about the strategy of Westmore getting Cunane out of the game that quickly?
I understand why, because the next possession you saw Boston go right at Hobby. She's a player who's tough to defend and can put fouls on you quickly, Ryan.
Here comes Beal blasting down the floor. Boston, the footwork and the finish.
She has looked great. They are playing through her at the high post, using a lot of handoffs to get the guards open. There she understood she could take it and get the score herself.
Dawn Staley told us she's probably the player throughout camp that has looked most like she's in midseason form.
Yeah, she's leaner and quicker than she was a year ago. That's without question.
Hobby will fire no. A 10-6 lead early for top-ranked South Carolina. Cook from the corner, too strong. Saxton the offensive rebound. Henderson slides in for two.
One of Westmore's big keys. He said we have to limit transition points and limit offensive rebounds, and South Carolina is terrific. Getting to the offensive glass, and they will make you pay when they do so.
South Carolina out-rebounded their opponent in every single game last season. Brown Turner gets bumped, got it back. Saxton the rejection, who's gonna get it? Henderson to the floor with it, and it's gonna be South Carolina basketball as Henderson calls timeout. Strong start for Aaliyah Boston and the Gamecocks.
Aaliyah Boston is 6'5", and you know what she is, Ryan? She's dexterous as she takes it to the bucket. We see it, big girl.
Since for both of those All-Americans a season ago, Elisa Cunane and NC State losing in the Sweet 16, upset by Indiana, and Aaliyah Boston and South Carolina coming that close to making it to the national championship game, only to see Stanford go on to beat Arizona.
Aaliyah Boston on the bench now. We get a chance to see for the first time in a South Carolina uniform Camila Cardozo, the transfer from Syracuse.
The college basketball season tips off today, and what a way to start it off on ESPN and the app with the 11th annual State Farm Champions Classic at Madison Square Garden this year. Number 3 Kansas takes on Michigan State, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, and then number 10 Kentucky squares off against number 9 Duke. It's a sonic blockbuster type of night. A few substitutions here. Kayla Jones in for NC State. Her minutes will be limited a bit after coming back from knee surgery. Cunane back in after playing just a minute and 14 seconds following that early foul. Raven Johnson, the number 2 overall recruit, in for South Carolina as well. The freshman getting early minutes. number 25 with the basketball right now. Ami here, steps inside. Can't hit the jumper. Long rebound, corralled by Crutchfield.
Yeah, really nice job by the entire NC State squad to box out on that possession. It's not just the bigs. Your guards have got to get a body on as well.
Perez given space, connects on a three. 7 first quarter points for Reyna Perez.
Yeah, use the handoff of the player, the 6'7" player, the big, and make her try to come out and defend, and she did not. Perez gets the good look.
A 12-9 South Carolina lead. Turnover here. The flick ahead to Perez. Kick out, Jones. Quick first step. Canane. Good close out there. Couldn't get it off. And then Canane misses it out of bounds. Good D there from the transfer, Cardoso.
So you bring your 5 player out in the handoff, and 6'7" Cardoso is not going to step out and defend there. A handoff works like a screen, and so Perez gets the wide open look. One of the few easy looks we see for NC State here in the first quarter.
It's going to be interesting too, Rebecca, looking at NC State and seeing, how they balance Diamond Johnson with Reyna Perez. Does Johnson play, like we saw at the start of the game, more off the ball with Perez the point? Does Johnson run the offense at times as well?
Well, Johnson's certainly a player who can create her own shot. She did that last year at Rutgers.
Average just under 18 points per game at Rutgers. As that one banks in for Zaya Cook, 6 points in the first. Cook now 3 for 4 from the floor. Here's Jones. Oh, nice look. Catch, fire. No. A 3 no good for Brown Turner. Cook dumps it underneath. Extra feed Henderson. Short on a 3. Offensive rebound. Cardoso finds Ami here for 2.
Really good basketball by South Carolina. Initially in their offense, making the extra pass, and then even on the offensive board to find the open player inside.
South Carolina, 8 of 12 from the floor in this opening quarter. NC State 4 for 12. Perez can't hit, and the foul called against South Carolina.
Initially, Perez went to the left side, and Jones was telling her, no, go back the other way. Continue to make Cardoso try to defend out on the perimeter, whether it's on-ball screens or handoffs.
That's number 2 on Destiny Henderson, so Raven Johnson, the freshman, is going to come in and grab Henderson. Henderson doesn't know it, now she does.
No, she knew. She was just looking the other way.
It's an old trick?
Yeah, trying to hope it didn't happen.
Is that the trick you tried to pull in the national championship game,
yeah,
when D gave you your 3rd foul?
Man, D Cantor, yes.
D, one of the officials tonight. D Cantner, along with Mai Forsberg and Billy Smith. About a 10-second difference, game and shot clock. Cook wasn't rushing into a 2 for 1. Taking her time. Now 8 to shoot. Cardoso over to Littleton. Off on a 3. Rebound poked away. Loose ball. Scramble for it. It ends up out of bounds. NC State basketball.
That last offensive set for South Carolina, NC State went over that in their shoot-around this morning, and they did a really nice job of getting the ball out of Zaya Cook's hands.
And NC State with plenty of time to get off a look here. 6.9 to go in this first quarter. Perez looking in, finds Canane, gets it back on the attack. Perez lays it home. 9 in the quarter for Reyna Perez, and that'll end the first. South Carolina, a 16-11 lead after 1. Number 1 against number 5. Perez with 9 points on 4 of 4 shooting for NC State.
Wes Moore called Reyna Perez a godsend a year ago. She has certainly been good here in this first quarter.
First game of our triple header. You see the outstanding games that follow. Good one here. NC State, South Carolina. South Carolina 10 of their 16 points in the paint. NC State turned it over 5 times in that first. Reina Perez was 4 of 4. The rest of NC State just 1 for 9 from the field in that opening quarter. Here's Jones, high arcing 3 off the mark.
This is our first look at the really big lineup for South Carolina with both Aaliyah Boston and Camila Cardoso in the lineup together.
What are your early thoughts, Rebecca, having not seen it yet, about how they might be able to mix together?
I'm eager to see it because Aaliyah Boston is really a good player from the high post, and so they can work a high-low together. I think it's going to be a dominant rebounding lineup that they can use. That last possession you saw NC State going to a zone defense, but here you wonder if NC State will try to take advantage of Boston out on the perimeter, get Jones some looks outside.
Camila Cardoso was the ACC Freshman of the Year at Syracuse as Perez finally misses one. Boston secures it. South Carolina off and running. See Destiny Littleton, a player who Dawn Staley very excited about her being healthy finally, and the three-point shooting she can bring to the table for South Carolina. I'm excited about her green shoes.
They're good-looking shoes.
In the corner, Littleton on cue, buries the 3.
Outside shooting is going to be vital for South Carolina because their bigs can be so dominant. They've got this big lineup in, so NC State goes to a zone. What's going to be open? Your perimeter players. And if South Carolina can knock those down consistently, watch out.
And you saw the numbers from last year. Wasn't great from 3. Littleton shot 31%. But that's why Dawn Staley's excited. She feels like there's real improvement there as Madison Hayes gets clobbered and will shoot 2.
South Carolina working the ball around the perimeter, inside out. When it goes inside, you have to come in. You have to, because Aaliyah Boston is going to score if it's one-on-one. And so what does that do? That leaves your perimeter player open.
Yeah, they're those green shoes. Those are sweet.
Got a whole rainbow.
Yeah.
For the South Carolina team.
That's right. We got pink on the floor, blue,
orange.
Very nice. You know, that's a part of it too. These players know this is the opening game on ESPN. You're going to bring some feet heat.
You're going to bring feet heat. You're going to have your hair done, all of it.
Madison Hayes, a transfer from Mississippi State. 2-time Miss Tennessee after scoring over 3,000 points in her high school career. Part of the SEC all-freshman team. Misses both free throws. Here comes Raven Johnson controlling the point. The #2 overall recruit. Only AZ Fudd of UConn higher. Johnson gives it up. Under 10 to shoot. Bree Hall, another freshman, giving it up. Littleton, catch, fire. No, she knew it, followed it up, and put it in.
Her pursuit of the basketball on that one was phenomenal. The second it left her hands, she knew it was off, and she just went after it and got it. What tremendous energy there.
5 points from Littleton in the quarter. Canane can't control it, got it back. Here's Jones, looking for some help. 10-point South Carolina lead, and Boston just swallowed it up. See Bree Hall on the floor. Dawn Staley talked about Bree Hall being somebody who she could really use when her team needs a stop. She's talking about how they're going to work in the different freshmen on this team with so much talent and returning all 11 players from last season, and a travel here. 7th turnover for South Carolina.
And here you see Destiny Littleton take the shot. Oh, it's off. Let me go get it. Look at that pursuit. The NC State players on the other side of the floor are doing a really good job boxing out, but no one boxed out the shooter.
Johnson flips it out. Diamond Johnson can't hit the three. Rebound taken in stride by Bree Hall. Johnson last season at Rutgers was 50-40-90. Has Littleton a little too strong. Nearly taken away in the backcourt. Instead, an errant pass, and Hayes couldn't quite control it. What a women's college basketball doubleheader we have for you Sunday afternoon. Number 25, Texas, taking on the defending national champions. Number 3, Stanford at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. And then it's the home opener for the 8th-ranked Hoosiers. They square off against All-American guard Ryan Howard and 13th-ranked Kentucky. Both games on ESPN and the app, one tap.
Really excited to see what Stanford looks like this year. Haley Jones, what an incredible NCAA tournament last season.
She was just unbelievable in every big moment for Stanford. Brown Turner banks it in on the run. The ultra-athletic Jakia Brown Turner.
I think NC State needs to continue to try to push, because when they try to set up in their quarter court, they've found nothing easy. South Carolina's defense has been too good.
You can see Destiny Littleton directing the freshman Raven Johnson at multiple times in the half court. Johnson, the spin, the dish. Hall gets fouled by Crutchfield. That'll be the first team foul against NC State in the quarter, and the first on Crutchfield. Now, one key player that NC State does not yet have, Jada Boyd, who is still recovering from tearing tendon in the hand-wrist area.
Hopeful that she'll be back in early December.
The 6th player of the year in the ACC. Hall flings it out. NC State wanted to travel. Here's Boston. Shot clock under 5. Hall gets it out to Littleton. She has to put it up. Didn't have time for that and throws it away. Crutchfield. Zigging, dishing. Jones, the crossover, step back in, the money.
One of the rare times where you'll say that a player is a tough guard for Aaliyah Boston.
Kayla Jones makes it a 6-point game. Hall, Euros, that's going to be a travel. Bucket will not count. That is the 9th turnover for South Carolina. All of a sudden, NC State with a little juice here in Raleigh. December 3rd, 2020, NC State 8th ranked, taking on top-ranked South Carolina. Reina Perez, a big 3 to put NC State up with 3 minutes to go, and NC State held on, ending South Carolina's 29-game winning streak. This celebration afterwards, and NC State has won 3 straight games when facing a #1 ranked team, Wes Moore, at the helm for 2 of them last season. NC State has settled down here in this second quarter. They've scored the last 4. It's a 6-point South Carolina lead. 9 turnovers for South Carolina in this first half now. Brown Turner gets space, missed it, and the rebound secured by Amihir. Amihir really played well in the NCAA tournament last season.
Terrific athlete with good handles. It's nice when your 4 player can start leading the break the other way like Amihir just did.
Boston, nice look. Littleton on the attack. Littleton banks it in. Big second quarter from Destiny Littleton, who has 7 in the frame.
Yeah, South Carolina's guards have been able to get looks in the paint off of dribble penetration when NC State has been in their man-to-man. They're having a hard time keeping them in front.
Perez gets fouled, and Reina Perez will shoot 2. Well, coming up on the Jeep Halftime Report, Reese Davis, Carolyn Peck, Jay Billis, Carolyn's season storylines, and a Champions Classic preview. What a trio. Looking forward to hearing from them. You know, it's interesting, Rebecca, we talked with Wes Moore earlier today at Shoot Around about whether or not there was a sour taste left in the mouth of his team after falling in the Sweet 16 to Indiana. And he said definitely disappointing, no doubt about it. And he said to give you an idea of where the mentality of the players is at, when they were having their conference tournament champion rings done, there was the option to put 3 straight Sweet 16s on the rings, and the players said absolutely not. We do not want that on there. They have higher aspirations. Boston gets denied by Canane. Out of bounds. Who the last hit? It's going to stay here with South Carolina. Just 3 to shoot.
Boston taking it hard at the basket. Canane there with the length, able to get fingertip on it.
Destiny Littleton is the only player to score this quarter for South Carolina. She has all 7 points. Littleton! And that's going to be a shot clock violation and the 10th South Carolina turnover. Dawn Staley upset about something from the possession. There's Diamond Johnson. Perez peels back. Crutchfield, who they call Clutchfield for the way she shoots during the NCAA tournament. Canane out of the double, gets fouled. And that'll be the 3rd team foul on South Carolina in this 2nd quarter.
I'm glad they finally got her the basketball. She was working really hard on that possession. Didn't get it the first couple of looks, but Reina Perez, who's a very good post-entry passer, finally able to get it to her. You give her a touch. Maybe you draw a foul on Aaliyah Boston, or you get a double team and then can pass it back out.
Canane 0 for 2 from the floor. By the way, Crutchfield 19 for 27 from 3 in her tournament career. Johnson step back 2, a little too strong. Offensive rebound and another chance here for the Wolfpack. Canane spinning, forcing, couldn't hit. Here comes Cook. Up the floor with zest. Fading and banking it in.
Great footwork. Great footwork, because Diamond Johnson was able to stay with her for most of that possession, but then the step through got her the look.
8 points now for Cook on 4 of 5 shooting. An 8-point lead for South Carolina. Brown Turner lofts it up and in. 6 points now for Jakia Brown Turner.
That's a tough shot. She had a couple arms right in her face.
She's shown a nice touch in the mid-range early. Boston. Ami here given a runway, takes advantage of it, and traveled with that runway. 11 turnovers for South Carolina.
Now post players, they really work on their up and under and step throughs. Look at this, guard, step around, get enough of a look, bank it in off the glass. We've seen a couple nice moves from Zia Cook so far in this game.
A 25-19 South Carolina lead. Closing minute plus of the 2nd quarter. Hobby, travel. Off the setup from Crutchfield.
But you saw they're trying to bring Cardozo out on the perimeter. It was a nice pick and roll. She just didn't collect quickly enough.
Canane on the bench now. Boston as well.
Smart. Don't let either of them pick up a foul with 1 minute to go in the half.
The 6'7" Cardoso working from side to side in the paint. Finally gets it. Dishes it. Beal can't hit the three. Littleton has been so active in this second quarter.
Defensively, that's what NC State is willing to give up, is a three-pointer to Bree Beal, but you got to finish the defensive possession by getting the board.
South Carolina an 18-9 advantage on the glass. Shot clock down to 3. Cook spins into traffic, couldn't get it off. That is going to be the 12th first half turnover from South Carolina.
Another low-scoring battle between these two in the first half, similar to a season ago.
We saw the drama it produced in December of 2020. NC State can hold for a final shot here. Brown-Turner, 5 seconds left. Bullies inside, missed the banker. And a travel before time expired. 0.4 on the clock. You can catch and shoot. You can't dilly-dally, but you can catch and shoot.
No dilly-dallying, ladies.
Perez, close to maybe being a foul. It's not called. That'll do it for the first half. Aaliyah Boston just 2 field goal attempts. Canaan just 3 field goal attempts. The All-Americans haven't gotten it going yet. Reina Perez, Destiny Littleton, they have. South Carolina, a 6-point lead at the half. Time to send you to Madison Square Garden with Reese Davis, Carolyn Peck, and Jay Billis. We welcome you back to the ACC on ESPN. Getting ready to start the second half in Raleigh, North Carolina. And top-ranked South Carolina, a 6-point lead over NC State. Hey again, everybody. Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. We came on the air talking about the talented members of the front court for each of these teams, but it's the backcourts that have really shined.
Yeah, South Carolina did a really good job. Their backcourt did, forcing the action, getting inside, still getting points in the paint, but doing it off dribble penetration. Zaya Cook was really good in that first half, and the play of the first half, Destiny Littleton just going after her own miss. And for NC State, Reina Perez was the bright spot for them on the offensive end of the floor. She was 4 for 5 for 11 points. Only 3 NC State players scored in that first half.
You see what happened with the Pigs. Boston, 1 field goal make. Canaan, 0 for 3 from the floor. Last season, Boston averaged just under 14 points. Canaan over 16.
But South Carolina is still playing through Boston. She was getting a lot of touches in the high post area, handoffs, being more of a facilitator.
South Carolina shot 52% in that first half, was a +10 on the glass, but 12 turnovers thwarted them having a bigger lead. And here the loose ball collected by Johnson. The Rutgers transfer gives it up to Perez. Reina Perez trying to turn the corner, and Bree Beal would have none of it.
Bree Beal is a terrific defender, and she's got the size in that matchup. Keeps her body here, moves her feet. There's space with the body. Yeah, very clean block up top.
Dawn Staley talks about Bree Beal, says she is so steady. She's the glue for our team. Pick ball here is going to keep things with NC State. And it's interesting because Dawn also talked about Bree Beal having to shoot when teams sag off of her, saying, we don't need her to make a ton, but we need her to shoot.
Shoot the right shot. And we saw it in the first half. She had that wide open look in the right corner because NC State was playing off her.
Canaan stood up by Boston. Brown-Turner hits the 3.
But what did we see in the first 2 possessions for both teams? For South Carolina, they got Aaliyah Boston. The ball cleared out the right side of the floor, let her take it in. Canaan gets a touch inside. They still want to play through their big guns.
9 points for Brown-Turner. one possession game, and a foul here is going to be against Canane. Her second personal.
So Lisa Canane gets the ball, and Aaliyah Boston will just play her one-on-one. They're not going to double down on Canane.
And we've seen the first couple of possessions out of the gates. The insistence on getting the ball inside to Boston and Canane. As Beal hits the three, that's the look we're talking about.
That teams consistently throughout her career at South Carolina have played off of her in a big way and sat in the lap of the post players instead.
Johnson buries her first bucket as a member of NC State. Shot over 50% from the floor, over 40 from three, over 90 from the free throw line last season at Rutgers. Bree Beal flips it up and off. Loose ball, corralled by NC State. Here comes Johnson. Busting out, finding space, off on a three. Cook able to shake Johnson. And now we'll back it out. Saxton flashes, left it short. Here comes Johnson, zipping into the front court, all the way in for two. Anderson blasts ahead. Boston couldn't finish. Crowd ready to pop. That's not going to get it to happen. Beal on the steal, lays it in.
Good decision by Canane to run by and to not pick up another foul there.
Already two on Canane. Crutchfield crosses over Boston, missed the reverse layup. Here comes Henderson, pushing pace. Anderson gets the whistle and is going to shoot a pair.
Pace has been a little bit different here to start this third quarter than we saw in the first half. Both these teams pushing in a big way.
First foul on Reyna Perez. Well, Rebecca, when we asked Dawn Staley, if there's one thing that your team is going to have to do to make good on its potential this season, what would it be? And she said, assuming our defense and rebounding is what it has been with this group, it's going to be converting in transition, which I thought was a really specific answer, and we've seen that the last two possessions, right? We saw Beal convert in transition, and now Henderson get to the line in transition.
We saw it a number of times a season ago where they weren't able to do that, and Dawn specifically pointed to some of their big games in the NCAA tournament when they played against UConn. She said, we only converted about 42% of our transition opportunities, and she said, we need to get up near the 70s.
Beal, make it Saxton, hopped over, nearly coming up with a steal. Here's Brown-Turner. Canane gets free, and Canane has her first points of the game. The second team All-American a season ago. Boston on the bench for the moment for South Carolina. Cardoso in. Saxton faces up and buries the jumper. That's something Coach Staley told us as well. She was excited to see the mid-range from Victoria Saxton this season.
Yeah, she said she's got a consistent mid-range now, which of course will make it harder for the defenders to help off her.
Oh, nice dish. Brown-Turner just couldn't finish. 5-point South Carolina lead. Henderson didn't pull, had a lot of space there. And a travel.
Talked about Canane getting more touches here to start the third quarter, and here just a nice pass, step through, finish with the left hand. She's very good finishing left and right.
Henderson leaves it short, one of those opportunities in transition. Here's Brown-Turner. Brown-Turner scoops it in. A little pizza pie. and 11 for Jakia Brown-Turner.
Brown-Turner is explosive, in particular when she can go to her left side. That's her strong hand.
Knocked away, turned over again. The flick ahead, 2-on-1, Perez. Oh, how we've missed these sounds. It's a 1-point game. For Perez, and a foul here on Crutchfield. 1-point game, third quarter action. Here we go.
Buckle up, they're starting to push the pace, and it's a 1-point game. Reina Perez with the finish.
For the win! National champion! Dynasty fulfills its destiny! The greatest in history!
Ryan Rucco, the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo, joined now by the third leg of this tripod. Holly Rowe joining us from Madison Square Garden, where she has 2 outstanding games coming your way at the end of this one. Holly, I know, though, you're still engaged with what's happening here, and Reina Perez is standing out to you right now.
That's right. I've been watching the first half. I wish I could be in every place at once, but Reina Perez, a transfer into NC State last year, she is one of my favorite feisty players. She is the toughness, the DNA for NC State, and you're already seeing that here for them in this early part of the season.
Now, meanwhile, on the other side of things, Holly, I know you want to see some more touches down low for Aaliyah Boston.
That's right. I think Aaliyah Boston of South Carolina can be a player of the year. She should be the national player of the year. And so for she only has 2 points in the first half, that's not good enough. I've seen too many catches for her at the free throw line or three-point line. I know that might be what they're running, but I'd love to see her get the ball down low and go to work. She is unstoppable with her moves in the post, and I'd love to see more of her in the spots that she can score from.
All right, Hal, tee us up for what you got going on tonight at Madison Square Garden.
We are going to tip things off. We're going to tip things off right now with Kansas and Michigan State. This should be a really great game. A lot of new faces on both sides of this. And then the late game is Coach K, one of his final appearances here in Madison Square Garden. I talked to him today about this being the beginning of the end. He has announced his retirement at the end of this season. He said, Holly, I'm just going to enjoy every moment of tonight, this game, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. He's taking it one day at a time.
Well, Hal, we can't wait to watch you later. Thanks as always, partner, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. I can't wait to see the finish of this game. You guys are going to rock it, and it's going to be awesome.
Well, right on cue, Holly. Jakia Brown-Turner lays it in. She is 13. It's a 1-point game. This crowd fully engaged. 37-36. Zaya Cook hits the jumper, and every time NC State cuts it to 1, South Carolina's had an answer.
Yeah, we've seen South Carolina run that set where she's coming off to her strong hand on the right side off of a double screen, looking for her shot. You know, Holly was talking about Boston not getting enough touches. Well, during our conversation, it was 3 scores by 3 post players.
Canane gets swallowed up by Cardoso.
Big still having their impact. Cunane going across the lane, and against a lot of defenders, this shot will go in with a right-handed hook, and not when you're going against 6'7".
6 blocks now for South Carolina. They led the nation in that category last season. Johnson can't get it to go. That's out of bounds. Last hit, NC State. It's South Carolina basketball. South Carolina's biggest lead was 10 towards the end of the first half. They had 21-11. It was a low-scoring first half. NC State has never led. Zaya Cook, not that time. That last hit the fingertips of NC State. What a women's college basketball doubleheader we have for you Sunday afternoon. Number 25, Texas taking on the defending national champions, number 3, Stanford, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Then it's the home opener for the 8th-ranked Hoosiers. They square off against All-American guard Ryan Howard and 13th-ranked Kentucky. Both games are on ESPN and the app one tap. Amihir with the big putback. And 6 points now for Letitia Amihir. Johnson gets the foul on the pass. That is the 4th. Check that, make it the 1st team foul against South Carolina in this 3rd quarter.
Leah Boston came out after the first 3 minutes of this quarter and has not come back in.
Oh, look out. Foul call here against South Carolina. And a little collision afterwards. Bree Beal gets in with her 2nd. Leah Boston, a spectator at the moment. 1 of 4 from the floor. 4 rebounds for Boston. South Carolina +8 on the glass. Canane. And NC State and Brown Turner couldn't get it to her. Cardoso doing a nice job there.
Yeah, but Brown Turner needed to wait another beat, take a dribble towards the baseline to give herself a better angle to get that inside.
Henderson finds the cutter. Cook gets tripped. Zaya Cook is going to shoot 2. And South Carolina has done a nice job steadying things in this 3rd quarter after NC State had built quite a bit of momentum. Canane going to check out now. Camille Hobby into the game for the Wolfpack. Cook with 11 points. She is the only member of South Carolina in double figures. For NC State, both Raina Perez and Jakia Brown-Turner have 13. Cook hits both. Lead is back to 7 for South Carolina. Johnson kicks it out. Jones putting it on the deck. Lost it. Out of bounds. It'll stay with NC State. Interestingly, Destiny Anderson let it roll, thinking it had last hit the foot of Kayla Jones, but it had not. So another chance here for NC State.
You see how valuable Kayla Jones is. I mean, she's helping break the press by handling the ball coming up the floor. As you see her going to the bench right now. She can extend, bring the 4-player out because of her ability to hit from the perimeter. She can dribble by you as well. Minutes just limited as she continues to return from the injury.
6-0 South Carolina over the last minute and 42 seconds.
Jakia Brown-Turner has blood on her shirt and they're trying to figure out where it's coming from.
You're able to pick that up pretty quickly, partner. Crutchfield catch fire, no. Oh, couldn't get the pass inside as it was kicked. Good idea from Henderson, and South Carolina will have it out of bounds with 1:30 to go in the 3rd quarter and a 43-36 lead over 5th-ranked NC State. Cook, rainbow mid-range, won't go. The box out from Brown-Turner and a chance here for NC State.
Zaya Cook has gotten that look multiple times out of the out-of-bounds play.
And a foul here is going to be on Amihir. That'll be the 3rd team foul against South Carolina. And the 3rd on Letitia Amihir. Amihir, a member of the Canadian Olympic basketball team in the 2020 Tokyo Games. Johnson, deep three, short, tracked beautifully by Hobby. Another chance here for NC State. Perez bounces out, Crutchfield, no. Good look there for Crutchfield. NC State just 2 for 12 now from three-point range. That three too strong for Zaya Cook. Henderson dumps it in. Me here lays it home.
And me here just continuing to be productive inside. We've seen her get to the offensive glass there. A beautiful duck in to be able to get the ball and score.
8 points for me here. 8-second difference game and shot clock. Johnson gives it up. Perez looking into Hobby. Johnson, 5 to shoot. Sets up Brown. Turner, a three. Is good. A big one before the end of this quarter for NC State. Henderson, and a foul is called on NC State. They did not have one to give. Third on Crutchfield, and the 15 foul. And that is not a foul you want to give with 2 seconds to go in the quarter, being over the limit. As Henderson hits the first. I'm just going to assume that the gentleman behind us is being picked up on mic, Rebecca, because there's a lot of girth to those pipes. He was not enamored with the call. Henderson hits both free throws. Johnson doesn't get it off, and that'll do it for the third. NC State cut it to 1, but South Carolina built it back up to 8 after 3.
Yeah, going back and forth, setting up for a good fourth quarter. Letitia and me here just powering it home. Jakia Brown Turner, gotcha. There's 3.
Well, what games we have coming up from Madison Square Garden. Kansas, Michigan State leading things off. Joey Hauser ready to go, and then it'll be Duke and Kentucky. And tonight we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings live from Madison Square Garden in between games at the 11th Annual Champions Classic. It'll happen after Kansas, Michigan State, before Kentucky Duke. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom, have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Gary Barta, the University of Iowa AD, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app, one tap. And of course, we wish Dickie V could be there. We all send him our love, our prayers. We're thinking of you, Dickie V, and we certainly feel your spirit in all these arenas at this time of year. Held ball there, and the arrow belongs to South Carolina. They'll have possession beginning of this fourth quarter with a 47-39 lead.
NC State extending their pressure. Take South Carolina a bit out of their comfort zone. See if you can get a turnover, easy bucket the other way.
Henderson finds the cutter. Cook. Cook doesn't hit that one. They've had good chemistry though, Henderson and Cook. Perez, what a feed. Hayes will back it out. Here's Johnson, step back three. Doesn't get the roll. Brown Turner scoops it up. Panane flips it up and in, muscling through a me here.
Yeah, Kunane wanted the basketball, and she was not going to be denied. Seen South Carolina run a couple times now, getting Henderson the ball low and letting Cook make the cut from the high post area.
And they've gotten some good looks off of it. Kunane with all 6 of her points in the second half. Me here dumps it down. Cardoso flips it out. Shot clock fading, and are they going to call a foul before the expiration of the shot clock? And they may take a look at whether or not this foul occurred before the shot clock expired. Hey, right, let's see, the shot clock, does it expire? That's close. Now, interestingly, what determines this is not when the contact is made, it's when the whistle is blown. That's different than if you were evaluating this at the professional level. We'll step aside for a moment. South Carolina's 6-point fourth quarter lead over NC State as we tip off this college hoop season. Now here's the play that was under review. Shot clock about to expire, and Zaya Cook fouled by Diamond Johnson. And the question is whether or not the foul was called prior to the shot clock expiring. The officials have determined that it was called a foul prior to the shot clock expiring, and it will be 2 free throws for Zaya Cook. I'm laughing because a bunch of horns just got placed right point blank range in front of us, Rebecca. In the meantime, though, let's let you know that college basketball season, well, it tips off today. You're seeing that. And what a way to start it off on ESPN and the app with the 11th annual State Farm Champions Classic at Madison Square Garden this year. Number 3 Kansas takes on Michigan State at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And then it's number 10 Kentucky squaring off against number 9 Duke in Coach K's final season. It's a Sonic blockbuster type of night. Looking forward to that.
That's a big foul. That's a big foul. 6-point ball game. Zaya Cook can extend it to an 8-point game. It looked like NC State was about to get the ball back, make a charge the other way.
And on the brink, right, of a turnover. Aaliyah Boston, one of the candidates for National Player of the Year, has been quiet thus far tonight. Just 2 points.
But she's played well. She's gotten the ball. She's gotten a lot of touches at the high post. They've worked through her. She's been good defensively with 3 blocks on the night.
Zaya Cook hits the first free throw. Cook with 13. She's had some big buckets in this second half after NC State had cut it to 1. Here's Johnson, who's 2 for 11 from the floor, 0 for 5 from 3 in her NC State debut after transferring from Rutgers. Brown Turner's had a nice night. Looking for help. Gets denied twice. Out of bounds. It's going to stay with NC State 3 to shoot.
And a really good defensive possession for Aaliyah Boston. She did not let the ball come into Cunane. She fought through the back screen at the beginning of the play, and then she got her hand on that shot.
Trying to lob it to Cunane, and she just tosses it away. She had more time to operate than she thought. Henderson sets up Cook. She got it on a 3.
Cook's done a really nice job in transition, running to that deep corner on the left side, and Henderson looks for her.
Zaya Cook with 16. The chemistry between Henderson and Cook has been outstanding tonight. Lead is back to 10, matching the largest of the game for South Carolina. Shot clock down to 5. Cunane nearly lost it. Johnson chucks it, rejected. Here comes a me here. And South Carolina will calm things down.
Another good decision by Zaya Cook.
Boston misfires on the 3, knocked out of bounds by Ami here. Ooh, they're going to say that last hit Hayes.
Henderson pushing in transition, and Beal goes to the block, and that leaves Zaya Cook open on the left side. Her teammates fired up.
South Carolina 17-2 edge in bench points in this game as Canane knocks that out of bounds. And that's some of also NC State feeling the loss of no Jada Boyd. Who was the ACC Coast 6th Player of the Year season ago. 8 blocks for the Gamecocks, none from NC State. Ami here, the ball fake, the attack, and knocked out of bounds. 8 to shoot. Kayla Jones able to deny the layup. 5 to shoot. Henderson, step back jumper is good. The backcourt of South Carolina getting it done. 9 points, 5 assists for Henderson, largest lead of the game for South Carolina.
South Carolina was a terrific defensive team a season ago, a great rebounding team, and they look to be all of that again. Here early in this season, their defense has been on point. Very little has come easy for NC State today.
Remember Dawn Staley telling us last season it was the most defensively engaged team she's ever coached. She's coached some good defensive teams.
Wow, look at him battle inside.
Canane in Boston, and the foul is called against Aaliyah Boston.
Yeah, I mean, they had to call something. Look at these two just going back and forth, bumping, grinding, okay.
Those two were teammates with Team USA over the summer, coached by Dawn Staley. Canane kicks it out. Perez gives it back. Canane can't get that one to go either. Canane now 3 for 9. Boston thought about it for a moment. We'll let some more time run. Ami here. And a foul called on the floor against NC State. Second team foul of the 4th quarter.
How about the patience by Ami here? She caught it, assessed the situation, ball fake. You don't want to be sped up as a post player. She's playing the pace she wants to play.
Ami here, short, rebound Jones. NC State looking for a little juice in this 4th. Brown Turner gets denied by Boston.
Boston was denying Canane, so she couldn't get a touch, and she didn't leave too early where the ball could then be dropped to Canane. Instead, she left at the perfect time. One of the reasons she is such a good shot blocker, whether it's her own player or off the ball.
Perez slinks it in. Crutchfield couldn't handle it. NC State turns it over, and they just cannot get anything going offensively in this 4th quarter against South Carolina. Just 2 NC State points in the 4th thus far.
When NC State went on their run in the 3rd quarter is when they were able to get out and get some easy buckets, or easier looks at least in transition.
Boston muscles in, couldn't finish. Another chance is good, plus the foul.
Aaliyah Boston is persistent on both ends of the floor. She is one of the best shot blockers in the country here. Stays with her player, then knows the right time to come over to deny. And offensively, one-on-one, you can't stop her. Maybe the first time, but not the second. You just see how much power she has there.
A lot of championship coaches on our air tonight. Dawn Staley, a champion in 2017. John Calipari in 2012. How about Bill Self in 2008? Tom Izzo leading Michigan State, and Coach K, yeah, he has quite a few. And gets ready to embark on his final season at the helm of Duke. Doubleheader from the Garden. Coming up following the conclusion of this game, South Carolina and NC State. The earliest a top 5 matchup has happened in 20 seasons. Crutchfield, step back jumper is good. NC State had not scored in over 4 minutes, and it scored just 2 points the entire quarter. Big bucket there for Crutchfield if NC State's going to make a push.
NC State extending their pressure, trying to pick up the pace of this game, pick up the pace of play for South Carolina.
It was a 1-point game for a while in the third. And then South Carolina locked down, and Zia Cook made big buckets as Boston started to get going.
I love that. They got Aaliyah Boston the ball in the high post area, but then they set an on-ball screen with a little, so you can't switch, and she just powers her way to the basket.
Perez gives it up. Perez connects. Not a 3. Reina Perez with 16.
Both teams have struggled a bit from the three-point line.
The little flip is good. What a finish from Destiny Henderson. And remember, three-point line is further back this season, moving from 20 feet 9 inches to 22 feet 1 3/4 inches, the international line. So probably going to be a little bit of an adjustment, you would think, especially early in the season.
Yeah, I would expect the three-point percentages to go down a bit this year in women's college basketball. Then again, maybe you get the players who shouldn't be taking them, stop taking them just by moving it back a little bit.
Jones, step back 3 is money. That shoots some life into this crowd. 10-point game, 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
Tough buckets, and not coming off of assists, but one-on-one moves by the players for NC State.
Wolfpack needs a stop here. Henderson again, getting it in the post, going to work, just couldn't finish. Here comes Jones busting out. Jones gonna head to the hoop and get fouled.
Nice job cleaning up the defensive glass and then pushing pace the other way. NC State has got to look to see if they can get early offense when you're under 3 minutes and a 10-point deficit.
Kayla Jones, who had left knee surgery in April, got hurt in the NCAA tournament, was sorely missed by NC State. Westmore is not one for excuses, but you could feel her absence in that Sweet 16 loss to Indiana. She's had some big plays down the stretch here in the fourth. It's a single-digit game. Oh, what a find from Henderson, going behind the back to get it up to Beals. Shot clock under 10. Cook behind the back, mid-range J, off the mark, out of bounds. NC State has life with 2:18 to go.
Really good defense by NC State to come out, keep Zia Cook on the left side of the floor, force her into a tough shot.
8-point game, here comes Jones. Jones held up, tries to call timeout, and is awarded the timeout. 2:09 to go, single-digit game. Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo with you. Opening of the college hoop season, and a good one here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Top-ranked South Carolina, 59-51 lead on NC State. It was 57-43 moments ago, but NC State on a little burst has made it an 8-point game, has the basketball. What's the focus right now on the offensive end for the Wolfpack?
You just got to get a good look on this one and try to score so you can continue to set up your full court pressure.
Brown Turner slides in, had an angle, just left it short. Here comes Henderson.
And South Carolina's been smart. They've been smart not to take quick shots, to understand that they need to use some clock on every possession.
Henderson again, working it down low, gets fouled. Destiny Henderson going back to the line. South Carolina has really gone to Henderson in the post.
They played Aaliyah Boston facilitating from the high post area and on the left side of the floor, getting Henderson the ball down near the baseline and then cutting off of her.
11 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds for Destiny Henderson. Aaliyah Boston 5 blocks in this game. And Henderson sinks the first free throw. South Carolina 7 of 10 from the line. NC State just 4 of 6. Henderson cans both. Lead is back to 10. Panane. Just 3 of 9 from the floor in this game. Brown Turner gives it up. Panane, one-on-one, turning, left it short. And now South Carolina got to let that clock wind. Dawn Staley's going to take a timeout. 1:18 to go in the fourth. South Carolina, a 10-point lead on NC State.
You'd expect now NC State to start playing the foul game.
The next one will put South Carolina at the line. How about Zia Cook? 16 points today, Rebecca, and some really big buckets when things got dicey in the third.
Yeah, she's made some really good decisions. She's made really good decisions on the offensive end of the floor and knowing when to look for her own shot, when to drive, step through, and when to make the passes to her teammates or slow things down. She's run the lane really well in transition, in particular getting to that left corner.
A 61-51 South Carolina lead. Opening game of the season. NC State upset South Carolina last December while South Carolina was the top-ranked team. Tough job getting it in. Henderson lost a shoe, got the basketball, grabbed the more important item, and now Boston is fouled and will go to the line.
That's her third personal, 5th team foul. Boston on the line shooting.
South Carolina, the first SEC program to sit atop the preseason poll in back-to-back seasons since Pat Summitt's Tennessee Volunteers 97-98, 98-99 seasons. Shamika Holtzclaw, Tamika Catchings, some pretty good players on those Tennessee squads. South Carolina returning all 11 players from last season and adding the #1 recruiting class in the nation. Perez finds Canane, lays it in. Easiest bucket of the game for Canane. And a foul in the backcourt against Perez will send Henderson to the line.
Wolfpack foul number 2, Brandon Perez. Her second personal.
Sitting here watching and looking at South Carolina and wondering what don't they have in terms of a championship contender.
They have everything.
They have everything.
And you think about it, Rebecca, I mean, we didn't see their freshmen in the second half the way we did in the first. But Raven Johnson got early minutes in this game. #2 recruit in the country. We saw Bree Hall, whose defense Dawn Staley really likes. Another freshman get an early run in this game. As the season goes on, who knows what weapons could develop to augment this already talented team. Perez hits the jumper. She's been uber impressive. Fling ahead. Cook gets to it. And now Cook is fouled by Perez, and Zia Cook will go to the line. Destiny Anderson, I think she's going to have to tie this a little tighter. She lost the shoe again.
But again, didn't lose the basketball. She's handled the pressure really, really well. Really well, and NC State has sent it to her quite a bit here in the second half, and she's taking care of the basketball.
Well, we saw the backcourt of Henderson and Cook play so well in the Final Four in that loss to Stanford. They were both dynamic. Combined for 43 points. Henderson had a barrage of 9 straight late in that game, as Cook goes 1 for 2 at the line. Door is still just slightly ajar for NC State. Perez trying to get space, finds Cunane, knocked away by Boston, and Cunane is going to foul Amihir with 38.3 to go. And that should just about do it. A reminder, 2 games coming up from the Garden at the conclusion of this one. Kansas, Michigan State, and then Duke, Kentucky. Me here with 8 points. Misses the second. And lane violation is called on, I believe, Kayla Jones, so another chance at that free throw for Amihir. And misses it again. 11-point deficit. Jones has it knocked away by Amihir. She's called for the foul. 4th team foul against South Carolina. Side out of bounds here for NC State. And if you're NC State, though, and you have any vision of trying to pull off some wacky comeback, I mean, at some point in this, you need to be shooting threes.
Right.
Crutchfield dumps it inside. Cunane loses it. Cook. It's going to be out of bounds off of Cunane. And we'll see if NC State backs off now and lets South Carolina dribble this out.
Yeah, you don't have time to pass it in and then get it back out for a 3. You just got to go up.
Now, are they going to take a look at who that was out of bounds off of? They are. They will take a look at who this last hit. Final 2 minutes. And now the South Carolina chants are loud here in Raleigh. I think it last hit Cook. Now you have competing chants. From NC State, and the South Carolina bench is into it as well, chanting back and forth. .8 to go. Tough to tell. Call on the floor is that it's South Carolina basketball. Is there evidence that's clear enough to overturn that?
Not from that angle, there's not.
And it's going to be NC State basketball with 24.8 to go. An 11-point South Carolina lead. NC State trailed by 10 early, cut it to 1 in the third, and went back and forth for a little while at 1 before South Carolina put the clamps down on defense. Got some great play in their backcourt. and built this double-digit lead. Brown-Turner floats in the jumper, and a timeout taken by Dawn Staley. Jakia Brown-Turner with 18, Reyna Perez with 18, and no one else in double figures for NC State. All right, Rebecca, despite the myriad of timeouts here and reviews down the stretch of this game, South Carolina has this one pretty sewed up. What has stood out to you most about watching both of these teams tonight?
First of all, South Carolina looks terrific. They look like they're picking up right away where they left off a season ago, in particular on the defensive end of the floor. They have made everything difficult for NC State throughout the course of this game. Their backcourt has been terrific. We kind of knew what we were going to expect from Aaliyah Boston, but the guards for South Carolina, I like the pace with which they played, the decisions they made, their ability to score when they could not necessarily play through the post. And NC State has had some struggles offensively just because South Carolina's defense has been so good.
The only thing South Carolina dealt with to really inhibit that offensive attack was turnovers. They had 12 in the first half, just 2 here in the second half. And that's why they get a different result than last December. Top-ranked South Carolina starts the season with a win in Raleigh. 66-57 the final, as the Gamecocks take down the Wolfpack in a battle of top 5 teams. A quiet night from Elisa Cunane, a big night from the backcourt of South Carolina. And the final score, South Carolina 66, NC State 57. For our producer, Kerry Callahan, our director, Bradley Wilson, the Hall of Famer, Rebecca Lobo, and our entire crew, I'm Ryan Rucco. Coming up next, State Farm Champions Classic. Now let's send you to the Garden. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis, and Holly Rowe.